The Nintendo Labo announcement yesterday has spurred a lot of conversation. Some people are suggesting a lot of interesting things. Some people are asking what the Nintendo Labo could mean for the future of Nintendo. And some people are even suggesting that the Nintendo Labo could be the beginning of Nintendo abandoning the core gamer for the casual audience, kinda like how they did it back in the Wii era. Some people are worried, and in this video I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't be. There is an interview that came out not too long ago from Tatsumi Kimishima, the president of Nintendo, and basically told us that Nintendo plans to sell 20 million more Nintendo Switches in the next fiscal year. And people were kind of asking, how the hell could that be done? Well, his explanation was that they're going to explore new ways to play and also focus on releasing DLC for games that have already come out. But the focal point here is focusing on new ways to play, releasing new ways to play. That suggested to a lot of people that maybe Nintendo's kind of go back to their casual ways, back during the Wii era, where Nintendo really focused on creating new ways to play. Remember Nintendogs, remember Wii Sports, remember Wii Fit, that kind of thing. And here's the problem with that. Well, one, I don't think there's a problem with that. I think there should be other kinds of ways to play. I think that's great. But it did create some issues for the core gamer because, well, one, the Wii was a weak system that didn't have a lot of third-party support, which a lot of GameCube owners sort of missed out on when they transitioned from that system to the Wii. But also, by focusing on creating games like Nintendogs and Wii Sports and Wii Fit, a lot of Nintendo fans felt that there were other games they could have made instead that they missed out on. And you know what? I'm going to go out and say that I felt that way. I actually did. I think that there could have been even more Nintendo games that would have been more suited towards my tastes. That said, there still were a decent amount of good games during that time, and I enjoyed the Wii, but it did have its problems. But fast forward to today, and Nintendo seems to be going back to that way in a way. At least that's what some people are suggesting after seeing that interview and also with Nintendo's big new announcement of Nintendo Labo. I mean, it's being treated as a whole new platform. It literally has replaced the Wii U, symbol on Nintendo's website. Like, it's something new, but it's incorporated with the Switch, and it's creating a lot of different ways to play. But you know what? It looks pretty fun. It looks pretty cool. I think I'm going to enjoy it myself, but maybe that's just because I'm a kid at heart. But really, I want to focus on what the Nintendo Labo could mean for the future of Nintendo, and if it really does suggest that there could be some concerns as to Nintendo's focus on the core gamer. Now, the thing about Nintendo Labo that's really interesting to me is that, well, one, it's creating all these really interesting ways to use the Switch and the JoyCons. It's kind of like mind-boggling. Like, you could literally put the JoyCons in a piece of cardboard that you build, and it can move. Like, you use the Switch as a touchscreen controller to move this piece of cardboard around. How does that work exactly? I'm imagining it has something to do with the HD rumble inside the Joy-Cons. But that's just an example of some of the really cool things Nintendo Labo is doing. I mean, one thing that's really exciting to me about it is if you've seen that robot part, it looks like they've actually gotten the whole Project Robot thing and have resurrected it and are using what was started back on the Wii U in this sort of Nintendo Labo robot kit, and it looks pretty awesome. They even have a scene where they take off a piece of the backpack, and you see all these cords and little nods moving around. It's really, really interesting. I think that if you are into building and art and, just kind of messing around with technology, you're going to really think Nintendo Labo is super awesome. I think it is. Of course, it is appealing to kids. That is the main focus here. It's appealing to kids to reach an even larger, wider audience. And the thing is, these cardboard pieces that you can sort of build up, which is really cool, it is in a way sort of masking basically a whole bunch of what looks to be like tech demos or like mini game compilations, kind of like what we saw with Wii Sports, 1-2 Switch, things like that. So, I mean, it is, in a way, basically kind of like what Nintendo was doing back during the Wii era. But it looks like they're doing it way better, and it looks a lot smarter, because if you pay attention, it looks like they can continually bring out more and more patterns, more and more cardboard things that you can put together that use the JoyCons and the Switch in very interesting and intriguing ways. And I'm assuming there's going to be more and more software released for Nintendo Labo. They are treating it like a platform. Of course, it's a platform that uses the Nintendo Switch as well, but nevertheless, it looks like this is going to be a thing to stay, and there's going to be more and more software like this and, well, cardboard coming out in the future. So then, if Nintendo's going to be coming out with more things like this, does that mean that there's going to be less hardcore games coming? That is the concern for us core gamers, or us core Nintendo fans, or even newcomers to the Switch, that there may be less core games to play. Well, one thing that we should take into consideration here is that the Nintendo Switch situation in terms of third-party support is improving. It's not as good as during the GameCube or the Super Nintendo days, but it is a lot better than, well, it's looking to be a lot better than what we had during the Wii era. We're getting a lot of multi-plat games that are pretty comparable, like Doom, for example, or Skyrim, for example, or perhaps even Dark Souls Remastered, and more third-party games are being announced for the Nintendo Switch. So from that sort of standpoint, I already think that the Switch situation is going to be much better than the Wii situation, because we're actually going to get multi-platform games, unlike the Wii. The Wii barely got any multi-platform games despite its success. So from that regard, I already think the Switch is going to be a much better situation, and we don't have to be worried about not having enough core games. However, there could still be the argument that with Nintendo's focus on creating software with Nintendo Labo, or whatever else they do as a new way to play, they could take away from some other really awesome games. But let's consider this for a moment. 2017 was arguably the best year from Nintendo ever. I mean, we got Breath of the Wild, we got Super Mario Odyssey, we got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, we got ARMS, we got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, we got Pokken DX, we got Fire Emblem Warriors. There's a lot of games straight from Nintendo, and they're really good. Some of those games are going to go down to some of the best games ever made. I'm talking about Zelda and Mario, of course. It was a special year, and the year's not even technically over yet if you talk about from March to March, the fiscal year. So there's still games coming, which is kind of crazy. So there's a lot already to play. But on top of that, we already know Metroid Prime 4 is on the way. We already know Bayonetta 3 is on the way. We already know Pokemon Switch is on the way. We already know Fire Emblem Switch is on the way. We know Pikmin 4 has been in development for forever. That's going to come out anytime really soon. There are rumors of Smash Brothers, there are rumors of Animal Crossing, and I mean, we already have announcements for Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, another port, of course, another port of Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Kirby Star Allies is coming out really soon. Yoshi's probably right around the corner. The point I'm making here is that there's a lot of core games coming from Nintendo already. They're already announced, and we still haven't necessarily had a big E3 from Nintendo this year to really tell us what they plan to come out with this year. There's bound to be new game announcements. So there's a lot of Nintendo games coming out that appeal to the core gamer, is what I'm saying, basically. So why should we be worried? Nintendo's much better at bringing out games now than they were during the Wii era. Remember, guys, and if you don't remember, if you never even learned about this, during the Wii U era, Nintendo unified their console and handheld gaming divisions up in Japan. They really focused during that terrible period that was the Wii U to improve their pipeline issues in terms of creating software. And also the Switch seems to be getting a lot of the developers that worked on the 3DS and on the Wii U on one platform, the Switch. So there's going to be way more Nintendo games coming. Way more games. So I'm pretty sure that Nintendo can appease to the core gamer, considering all of their improved pipeline, support, the improved third-party support, the new line of indie games. I think they'll be fine. But they're also going to create more software that's going to be for Nintendo Labo. That's going to happen. And there may be something else in the future as well. I imagine there will be. But I'm not concerned about it because Nintendo's creating so much content. There's too much to play. There just is. There's just too much to play. So I'm not worried. And I just think it's interesting. Nintendo Labo is something so unique. I don't think anyone really expected this. Yeah, we had some ideas of maybe something that could be about crafting, something that could appeal to kids. Obviously, Nintendo told us this. But the way it's being done is really cool and has so much potential. It's really special. It's just another example of Nintendo pushing the boundaries and coming up with new ways to play. And that's really special. And I don't want to be the kind of person that is against Nintendo innovating and coming up with new ways to play. It's just super cool. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you guys not satisfied yet? Do you guys actually have concerns that Nintendo is abandoning the core gamer and going back to their casual ways? Or even worse, but worse in the Wii era, which still had a pretty decent amount of good core games, but you know, they did have a focus on casuals. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, I'm sure people have different opinions here, but I myself feel pretty comfortable after everything I've told you guys, which are all facts, that Nintendo is not abandoning the core gamer. After all, they literally took the time to focus on 2017 all on the core gamer. They announced core gamer stuff during the mini direct. I'm sure there's another big direct coming in February, as the rumors suggest. So yeah, I'm not worried, everyone, but maybe you are. So let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all really soon. Bye.